48. That is our number today. That is a number we are going to open the show with. That is a number that we are going to kind of hammer into your brain to start today's show. 48. That is the number of career passing attempts that the last two 5-stars have had under Kirby Smart. You've signed two 5-stars since 2018, okay, at the quarterback position, and they have thrown 48 career attempts, 27 for Justin Fields, 21 for Brock Vandagriff. So what can we take away from that stat, okay, because that is a pretty staggering stat, okay, one that a lot of people would probably use to counter-recruit you, okay, or to say, ooh, Georgia, 5-star, places where, or Georgia, place where 5-star quarterbacks go to die, all right? That's what a lot of people would probably use that to say with, right? 48, that's not a lot of run. It's not a lot of run for, extremely, quote-unquote, talented or highly ranked guys to get a lot of opportunities, right? Again, very staggering stat. Let's start with Justin Fields, right? I think we've come to see and maybe learn exactly what that quarterback battle was about, okay? In Justin Fields' freshman year, he had to obviously compete, and I don't want to rehash everything, but it looked to me like whatever decisions were made with that one, it looked like they're proven out to be right, all right? At least from a processing, seeing the field, might have been turning the football over, that type of deal. And I'm telling you right now, the quickest way that I have learned over the years watching Kirby Smart make decisions about the quarterback position, the quickest way to lose a battle or to not win it, all right, is to turn the football over, all right, or to have a slow processor or to be the slower processor, all right, or not to be able to play within structure, all right. If you can't play within structure, you're probably going to lose the quarterback battle at the University of Georgia, all right. That is quarterback play, right? Talent often goes second at the University of Georgia with regards to this position and with regards to making the decision of who is going to be the starter at this position, right? Again, it's processing and it's operating within structure until the structure fails, and then you have to go make a play. But that is it. That is what they ask of that position, pure and point blank, at the University of Georgia. So we already talked about Justin Fields. Let's talk about Brock Vandagriff. How do you approach it, or Clay, as they call him at CBS? How do you approach it with Brock Vandagriff? You have to really throw out the first 2 years of him at the University of Georgia. Why? Well, because he was behind Stetson Bennett. Everybody lost that one. All right, the guy that we're going to talk about later tonight as a potential first-round draft pick maybe, all right, was the guy that lost that one too. He was the number 2 in that situation, right? So during those 2 years of Brock Vandagriff's freshman and sophomore years, all the quote-unquote developmental reps were given to Carson Beck. You have to remember this. This was the number 2 for majority of that time during Stetson Bennett's run as the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia. So all of the developmental reps for 2 seasons are going to Carson Beck while he's being the 2. And you're down there left to essentially, during that 2-year stretch, be a 3, which basically in college football means you're the scout team quarterback, all right? And you get to go down there, and yes, you get a great look. You get to see a lot of great football players down there, and you get to, see what you're capable of, if you will, as a quarterback, all right? But it's a tough spot for anyone because the developmental portion of your game, it's really left in your hands, all right? It's down there for you to get better. It's on you. All the extra work is on you. All the extra film work is on you, okay? All the resources, time, and availability dedicated to getting people prepared and developing them to be ready to play, that is derived and given to the 1 and to the 2 for, 65% of the calendar. All right, the other 35% of the calendar is your time, right? Is their time to try to get you to develop, okay? So now after all these 2 years of really being the 3 at the University of Georgia, okay, playing behind Stetson and then playing behind Carson, we're really going to only give you 9 months to catch up ground. Because that's what it really was, right? You had these 2 years of run where Carson's the 2, getting the developmental reps, presumably ahead of you, all right, and then you have 9 months, the January from when Stetson's done, when he walks off that field against TCU, until September. That is the time that Brock Vandagriff really had to make up ground on what we have now come to know, what I was telling you I thought I knew about a first-round quarterback in Carson Beck. So when you evaluate Brock Vandagriff's career, when you evaluate the 21 passing attempts, when you evaluate this 5-star that is going to have to go play his college football meaningful snaps elsewhere and not the University of Georgia, man, it's a tough run. It's a tough run to criticize anybody at all, because Stetson Bennett did what he needed to do for start for 2 years and win 2 national titles. And Carson Beck, a future, what we presume to be first-round draft pick, all right, who is an elite processor, by the way, and who clearly makes right decisions and protects the football, a la what he did all year this year, all right, beat you out in what was really a 9-month opportunity. It was a really, really tough run of things for Brock Vandagriff. And I want to say this. We talk about body language a lot on this channel, being able to read it on human beings. In fact, Carson Beck, I remember his freshman year. I don't know if you guys do. I remember showing a clip of him on the road. I think it was Vanderbilt or Kentucky, one of the road games his freshman year, him standing way off on the bench, sitting all by himself, and me saying, ooh, that's a bad look. We got to correct that, right? That's bad body language. Never once did we ever see that from Brock Vandagriff. Not once. When he come running off the field that you guys don't really see, that only credential media gets to see, that only the people that are actually at the games get to see, tremendous body language. Always a team guy. Always a pat on the back guy. Always a jog off the field guy, right? Always doing it the right way. Took all these things in stride, and he will ultimately go on to his next landing spot and his next home in a tremendous, limelight. And one of these, this is damn good dog season. That's what this is. This is damn good dog season. Everybody wants to label, is so-and-so a damn good dog? So-and-so left the program. Do they get DGD status? This guy never started a football game at the University of Georgia. I, knowing what I know, would label him a damn good dog because he did everything the right way and took his L's like a man, all right? And now he's going to walk out and go start somewhere else and probably have a tremendous career.
Yeah, I actually remember the first game of the season this year. As soon as Carson Beck got his first touchdown, Brock Vandagriff was the first person to meet him off of the field and congratulate him about it.
That's a film guy observation right there. I love that. You might get your certificate today.
Oh, I get a film guy certificate?
You might get your cert for that. That's a film guy certification worthy observation. You know, that's the minute details we pride ourselves on here on this network.
Dude, you just made my day with that.
I'm sorry. You made my day.
Freaking
that means I'm teaching
that.
you right. You know what that is? That's you sitting in the booth with me at the Natty. That's what that is.
Amen to that.
That's what that is.
You can learn a lot from that.
That's absorbing it. Yep.
You got anything, Kirby?
Yeah, no, I mean, I tweeted this a little while ago. Brock Vandagriff is definitely one of those guys where the transfer portal leaves a lot of bad taste in fans' mouth. Oh, this guy left us, he abandoned us, or oh, he didn't do the right thing. But I don't think Brock Vandagriff is any of that. I think he's going to leave in good graces with both the UGA fan base and the rest of the coaching staff that he was with. So
there you go. All right, let's talk about actual potential landing spots. You want to do that first?
Let's hit it.
I want to say this. I spent a lot of time evaluating Brock in high school. Mm-hmm. A lot of time. And I honestly want to save my evaluation for how it panned out to actually see him play, because we got to see some spring game stuff and we got to see, the 21 pass attempts in limited time or whatever. But every portion and every part of the evaluation for me with Brock was always going to be based off his ability to remain a football player. If you watch this guy in high school, he was a quarterback. He was a football player playing the quarterback position. This is a guy whose freshman year, all right, they knew he was going to be a dude. They did. But they needed him to play wide receiver as a true freshman. So you know what he did as a true freshman? He almost led their team in receptions as a true freshman in high school. Yeah, it was single A high school football. But everything about this dude, 11-2 in the 100 in track, 6'2", 220 pounds, running 11-2. Okay? Everything about this guy was always going to be about, hey, you're never going to be able to evaluate it without the whistles. You got to be able to play, let that guy play football, not let that guy practice football. You're never going to be able to truly see what the dude's got unless you allow him to be a football player. Mm-hmm. And you're never going to see that. It's why the quarterback evaluation process, guys, I think it's one of the hardest things, and it is the hardest thing in this sport to do because of this, what I'm talking about. The live bullets, they never allow you to have them, ever. He's gone 3 years without getting hit, essentially, because even when he gets into mop-up duty, again, it's not like he's out there really operating offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why it's always so funny to me when people get into the conversation of like, oh, well, we need to be starting the backup quarterback or blah, blah, blah. Like, during that whole conversation, it's like, you say that and you assume that he is better because of what we know, what he did in high school and whatnot, and what his rating was coming out of high school. But we don't know at the collegiate level. We have never been able to see that. And I'm not saying, obviously, that Brock Vandagriff was not worthy of being a starting quarterback at the SEC level, but it's just the unknown. We don't know yet, and we will get to find out this year, though, what he is capable of. And that's an exciting opportunity for him.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do when he's finally given that one reps opportunity, where you're finally getting reps with the ones where you finally have a chance to be the starter. The thing I never got was how people criticize the coaching staff and Kirby Smart for misusing him. I mean,
the misusage?
Yeah.
How do you misuse someone you didn't get to use?
Well, that's even the thing. People are like, oh, we need to do packages for him. We should have had more red zone packages for him because he's a running threat and adds another hat.
Do they think that would have kept him around?
I don't think so, no. I don't think if you give Justin Fields 3 more fake punts, he stays at UGA. Like, I don't think packages are what keep a quarterback around. But obviously that's a main argument. So
I think one thing we should have learned, or I should ask this. I shouldn't say we know this. Can you apply the immediate success that Carson Beck had and the obvious signs of development that Carson Beck had to a guy like Brock Vandagriff? Can you say that, hey, Carson clearly had a timing and a feel for the speed of the game, at least, right? How it looks, what it feels like, because of who he got to practice against every year and throughout that time. Because this is a guy that spent 3 years practicing against these dudes, going against these dudes. So you're going to at least feel comfortable by his absorption of the level of speed difference. This isn't like when you get a freshman in and he's got to go play for the first time, because this dude has seen what college football looks and feels like, except for the hits.
But I mean, even to Carson Beck's thing, there's not as much you can quantify with development in his game because he only started for one season. Like, if you go back and look at Stetson Bennett from 2020 to 2022, you can see real in-game development there. Whereas Carson Beck, I mean, there is development obviously that went on from his freshman year to his senior year, but it's not quantified in the field of play just because he wasn't out there and, like you said, getting live rounds.
Yeah, it's always hard to judge, especially and doing the whole spring game thing too. Like, we get to see him there, but even that doesn't feel like a true in-game scenario of what you're going to see in the fall from them. We get a little bit of taste and flavor of what they are as a college athlete, and each and every year that we see them out there in April, we get a feel of how they've developed over the last year or so. But it's not a true evaluation of like, hey, it's fall, it's Saturday, it's an SEC battle, or you're going down to play Florida in a neutral site football game, one of our biggest rivalries. You don't get a feel for that in a spring game. And those things matter in evaluations and knowing, like, how does those players handle those things? And your last 2 starting quarterbacks have handled those both really well.
One thing we heard constantly about the guy, all right, is that the arm is live. All right, we knew that coming out of high school. Yeah. We knew the arm was elite. He had what I call horsepower. It's a term I stole from Trent Dilfer. All right, this isn't arm strength. It's very similar to that. But just the ability to have the raw power to make wow throws or do wow things, Vandagriff still maintains that. He doesn't look as like Adonis-like as he did his senior year of high school.
Yeah,
I got a picture of him. One of my favorite pictures of an athlete that I've taken, because it was on a really shitty camera and it actually required some like legitimate photography, not just a point and shoot like I get to nowadays with the nice camera. But dude is just, I mean, looks like a safety. I think is how I tweeted. I was like, Georgia's quarterback commit looks like most safeties, because that's the way this dude is physically put together. I would imagine the day he becomes a starter, that's exactly how the build ultimately looks like again. Not saying that he's been, taking it off, but I'm just saying he was playing in a much more, if you get in, you're going to get in for a pro-style quarterback. Wherever he's going next, he's going, I would imagine, as the keynote starter or the guy who's in contention and the main guy who we think is going to be the starter, which means you would tailor an offense around him. Now, where does he land?
I mean, all signs point.
He's got 3.
All
apparently.
signs point to Kentucky.
Correct.
Really.
South Carolina was another.
South Carolina has gotten into the mix.
Let me go ahead and say this. I would not even flirt with that option.
I wouldn't either. You'll be running for your life the whole time.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't think he's as good at, I shouldn't say that. We know Spencer Rattler figured it out, but it took Spencer Rattler 2 years to figure it out, how to operate and successfully operate, efficiently operate within that system of constantly under pressure. Mississippi State apparently has gotten in the mix from some of the reports I've seen. I think that's just jargon. I think the other 2 teams have found their way in the quote-unquote mix to maybe cover up some potential tampering on Kentucky, because it was so fast. It was so fast. Kentucky. Even the people that broke the news was like, Won't be in the portal long. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like, think he might find a home pretty quickly. Wink, wink. How about them Hoop Dogs up 16 at the half on Georgia Tech? Hey, Mike White, give him 3. That boy gonna have me answering questions about hoops on radio stations. I'm not gonna know what the hell to say.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Hey, welcome in. It's a loaded show for you guys tonight.